Hello everyone, welcome to another Facebook Live with Painted. I'm Maury Curtis Dunbar, your host for those who aren't familiar with me. Today's Facebook Live is going to be about several products from Faux Effects. As most of you know, I'm a Faux Effects instructor and have been for the last 8 or so years, closing in on 10. Wow, 10 years as a Faux Effects instructor. It's gone by really quickly. I've had a great time with it. Hey Rima, nice to see you with us. And Mary, hi. So and Karen, nice to see you here too. Wow, everybody's saying hi. I feel so popular today. Today's Facebook Live is about 3 Faux Effects products. The first one is MetalGlow, which is a paint product. The second one is PrimeEtch, which is a high bonding specialty primer from Faux Effects, and the third is going to be Varnish Plus, which is one of Faux Effects top coats specifically designed for furniture. And I see everybody. Hi, Kathleen. Who else is there? Everybody's saying hi. Oh, I'm so popular today. Sorry for the fingers in front of the cameras. I should probably be doing it with my right hand so you're not seeing like this, because that's really glamorous. Still learning this camera thing. One of these days I'm going to have a camera person helping me out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be going away soon. I'm going out east to see my nephew graduate, and then one of my oldest friends is going away with me to Cape Cod, and she's going to come back and stay with me, so she's going to be my studio assistant for a couple weeks, and maybe then somebody will be there to, you know, type in the links as I talk about things and probably help me keep my fingers out. But knowing the two of us, we've known each other for over 30 years, she's going to be sticking her fingers in the camera as much as I am. Oh, thank you, Charlie. I appreciate it. Went a little blonder for the summer. Yes, because it's all about my fashion and my makeup and not about paint today. So I am going to jump into products. I gave everybody a couple minutes to kind of get here. It always takes a few minutes at the beginning of a live for everybody to find me. As you can see, I have a board mounted behind me. This is polystyrene. I said I'd do it. Oh gosh. So I have polystyrene here. The background on this is Set Coat Faux Effects paint product. It's a paint and high bonding priming product in one. It's not like the same paint and primers that you find at Home Depot. I will do a 101 on Set Coat specifically to demonstrate and diagram the differences, but just for now, no, this is black Set Coat. And the first product we're going to talk about is MetalGlow. Now you're going to see me ducking in and out because my table's lower than I am. So we're going to start with MetalGlow. I love this. Hi, Celia. This color is called Cinnamon. It's this gorgeous, rich, coppery brown. Hi, Nancy. And MetalGlow is an interesting product. It has tons and tons of mica in it, so it's super, super reflective. And it has a nice bond to it, but it's also dries kind of shiny too, so you really get a nice shiny metallic finish out of it. Now, metallics in general are a challenge to apply, so I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different ways you can apply them, both by brush and with a sprayer, so that you understand the differences. And I'm going to duck for a second because I'm opening my jar. I know this is the exciting part. Oh my gosh, I'm opening it. It's brand new. I'm almost afraid to open it. And I know I should have my gloves on because I just got a manicure yesterday. I spent all that time getting a manicure, and the first thing I do is open a can of paint or a jar of paint. And it doesn't want to open easily. I'm going to try to open it not quite all the way, just a little bit, so I don't dump it everywhere. I'm going to put it in a roller, pan right down here. I'm right here. I'm not going to put in too much because we're only working on one board. So if anybody's ever worked with mica, or metallic paint, sorry, not mica, metallic paints, you will notice that when you try to roll it on, it doesn't look very good. So you do this, and you get it rolled on, and you can see all the directions that you roll it, and it just isn't very pretty. Now I've got extra on here so it's a little smeary, but what you can see in the camera reflection is that it looks darker here and it looks lighter here and then darker over here. And that's because these metallic paints are made with mica particles. So the direction that you apply it is what flips the mica particles around. So when I apply this to a wall, I apply it all kinds of directions. Ooh, I've got so much paint on there, it's just sliding around. Offload my roller a little. It's a lot easier to do on a bigger wall because when I get too much paint built up, I can just move to another area and offload some of the paint. Now, you will still see all the directions, but it creates a really nice pattern and texture that looks intentional instead of and nothing lies nicely. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me see if I can bring you closer so you can see how uneven and irregular this is. But if I do this, and I do a lot of this, and I roll in a lot of different directions, and that in itself creates a great background for faux finishes and on furniture, or even like this, because then that irregularity looks intentional. Or I can take a paintbrush and I can brush it directionally like this. Now I'm only showing you one coat. Normally I would do it 2 coats. And with these mica paints, with MetalGlow paints, you want a color that's either darker or the same color and as close to the same color and value in the background behind it, because if you do this over something like white, it turns colors funny. All you see is the white background splashing through, or flashing through, sorry. It's been a while since I've done a live, and when I haven't done one for a while, I get tongue-tied. So this in itself, again, killer finish. I have done a whole bunch of ceilings. As a matter of fact, Kathleen Nye, who is on watching and said hi, I did her dining room ceiling in a finish like this with this paint. Not this color, but this paint. Or I'm gonna roll this back out again. And you can see it doesn't dry super quickly, so I have a little work time, which is really nice. You can manipulate it. You can see all directions. And where did I put my Neon Leon? Hang on a second. I can take a Neon Leon and pounce it. And it gives kind of a very nice hammered look. And I've done this. This is actually my own dining room ceiling. I like this look so much. All right, this is a Neon Leon from Faux Marketplace, Martin Allen Hirsch's Faux Effects distributorship. Okay, so there's that. And you know, this is what happens when you either brush or roll. You are not going to get a smooth, flawless finish if you brush or roll on a metallic paint like this. When you set coat is all mica particles, it needs to be manipulated so that the mica particles look good. But if you want that perfect, beautiful finish, truly the only way to go about getting it is to spray it. So we're also going to do a quick demo on spraying as I throw things at my feet. Let's take this board off. And I'm just gonna step this way and throw it over here and grab the other board that I have prepped. I'm in my little corner over here because we're gonna be using the table for the other products demonstrations. So I've got this up. And I know spraying is a word that makes a lot of people nervous. They're like, oh my God, I spray rig. Oh, it's so hard, it's so expensive, it's so complicated. Well, I'll tell you, I have a very expensive, complex spray rig, and I use it, but I don't use it for little jobs, and I'm certainly not going to use it for this demo. Let me pull it around. Give me a second, because it's right over here. I think you all have seen my demo with my little home decor sprayer from Wagner. It's just a little spray gun. It works very well for small spaces and small pieces. It's all plastic. I'm going to put some MetalGlow in here. I love MetalGlow. It is, just some information, it is interior rated only. There are no real metals in it. It's all mica particles and pigment to get those beautiful colors. And it really lays out nicely when it sprays, because you saw it has some open time, so it will level itself. Now, this little Wagner sprayer that I'm using, generally I thin the paint a little bit with my other sprayer, but this one has a surprising amount of kick to it for something that's so little. And basically the thing is like a little vacuum cleaner that blows in reverse. And I have found if I thin it, it's too wet. Hi Kathy, nice to see you here. Okay, this is gonna be noisy, so, because it's, like I said, sounds like a vacuum. So I have to turn my little vacuum on. And then I give it a second to warm it up. And then, let's turn this way. You can see it's starting to spray a little bit. And I'm spitting a little bit. I didn't put enough in here, so I'm getting air behind the mix. I should put some more in. I know, sorry for the ducking in and out of camera, but I just don't have a table next to me that's high enough. All right. So here we go. I have put a little more in here, so I should have less issue with spitting. Which Wagner sprayer is that? There is no needle with the, answer Charlie's question first, there is no needle with this that has a variation in size. It comes with a specific tip. That's it, one tip. And there is an airflow adjustment on it, but I haven't found that the airflow adjustment makes a whole lot of difference. Which model Wagner is that? This is their little tiny home decor one. They came out with it a couple years at one of the trade shows, and I thought it was a great thing to purchase for doing furniture when I want to spray something to get a nice finish, especially like when I'm doing these metallics, and I'll get a more even, pretty finish on it than I do when I brush. I didn't want to always pull out my big sprayer, because then I do have to figure out which needle I want and play with the compressor and adjust the airflow a lot more. This one, it just, you know, you kind of turn it on and goes zzz, and there isn't a ton of overspray. I'm going back here and back here. I got a little spray right around here. I am not seeing a ton of product sprayed. On a piece of furniture, I do it twice, so I get a nice even coat, but this will lay down, it'll level a little bit, and it'll be a nice, even, smooth, metallic finish. And I think that covers MetalGlow, unless you all have some questions. Like I said, interior rated only, comes in so many pretty colors. I a commonly used one, which would be a cinnamon brown, which is really nice, lays down nicely. Let me see if I can get it closer so you can see that color. It's super, super pretty. And it comes, I have all kinds of colors, including some colors that there is discontinued. Hi, Carolyn, nice to see you here. But now that we've done that, I think I'm gonna move into the PrimeEtch and the Varnish Plus. So there's gonna be a moment of adjustment here while I shift the camera down so you can see where we're going. So bear with me. Let's get you down there. I'm sorry. There we go. I knew somebody was saying something, and it was a hello. So you can see my little table set up here. I need to pull my stool over and grab another brush. And here we go. Now, I'm back at the table. I'm going to turn my table around so we're working on the right things at the right time. So the next thing is dirty brush out of the way and into a paint pan so I don't end up stepping it and carrying it up into my dining room, which I will. And I see, Nancy, what is the dilution when you big girl spray? The standard solution, the standard dilution for most Faux Effects products starts at 20%. That's their recommended, without compromising the bond. I have diluted 35% when I've sprayed with the big girl sprayers, but that's going to be a fairly wet mix, or 35 usually ends up with my container's a little old and the product's thickened up a little bit. I don't normally need to go that thick. So here we are, and I can't see that far. I'm looking up and sideways to see who else joined us. It says Natalie. Hi, Natalie. Boy, even with the glasses, I can't see. It's a sad thing. Okay, the next thing is, let's see if I can get it where you can see it. PrimeEtch. PrimeEtch is a unique product. Turn yourself to me so I can look up and talk to you at the same time. PrimeEtch was designed for hard to bond surfaces. It is not a stain sealer. It is not an oil-based primer. It is water-based. And specifically, what this is designed for is painting on things like melamine, plastic, vinyl, formica. It will work on even, oh shoot, I forgot what that stuff is called that they make the sinks out of that you're supposed to be able to sand. Corian. It will bond to that, and all it requires is a light scuff of the surface, and then you put PrimeEtch on. Now, let's see if I can get this one open, because it was sticky before, and it's not going to want to open for me, so I'll open the new one. I don't want to have you sit here and watch me fight. And I do mean fight, because it took me 15 minutes the other day to open it, the PrimeEtch. Now, as is true with everything, you need to mix it well. Okay, this is not standard mixing. You don't normally shake this product because you don't want air bubbles, but I'm going to do that because I don't want to go hunting or get up and go hunting around for a mixing stick, since I'm already sitting here with all of you. Now, you know, the joy of watching me go hunt for a stick is not really there. So it's very thin. You know, there's always that little skin that wants to form right at the top. Don't worry about that. That's not a problem. Happens with lots of stuff. And get it out of the way. Throw it in something. There it goes. Now, I just got my fingers in this, and my fingers. I use this, it's Thursday. I use this Monday, maybe even Sunday, and I'm still cleaning it off my hands because it wanted to stick really, really hard to even your skin. It doesn't hurt. It's not going to kill you. There's no fumes. It's not weird and stinky. It just wants to stick. And especially since I have, you know, See, oh, I'm so glad I did this with my manicure already. But since I have nail polish on, this will want to stick to the nail polish really well because it wants to stick to plastics especially, but it'll also bond to other hard to bond surfaces. I use it a lot on cabinetry or furniture when I have questions on how tight regular, yes, I see, I got gloves. I thought that was Martin teasing me, but of course with my glasses on, I can't see who's teasing me. Lisa, yes, I've got gloves on this time. I wasn't smart enough to put them on the first round. But like when I'm doing a bathroom cabinet and I'm not sure what it's been sealed with, I like to make sure that my next layer is going to stick. So I'm a belt and suspenders kind of person. I usually use some PrimeEtch, and I'm just gonna use a plastic plate because this is the kind of stuff I know it will bond to. I haven't sanded this, so don't worry about that. But I usually do a light scuff, and then I'm brushing it on. You can see it's very thin, very watery, has a little bit of a bluish cast. And my shaking it up put those air bubbles in it. You kind of don't want those. You can spray this. It does not need to be diluted to be sprayed because it's super thin, but when you use it in your sprayer, clean your sprayer well. Clean your brushes well. Clean everything really well as soon as you're done with it because otherwise it wants to stick to everything. Is it necessary to sand tile before applying the PrimeEtch? Yes. Because your tile is glazed. Glaze is glass. So you're definitely going to want to put a scuff on your tile so that this has some tooth. When it's called etch, it doesn't mean that it's going to etch your glass. It's not that product. What it means is it's going to be co-solvent and plasticky and bond in with things like melamine and vinyl and Formica and all of those things that are really hard to get paint to stick to. That's what this is for. Then you have to let it dry 24 hours. Do not go, it'll be dry to the touch and sticky in half an hour. It's not good then. You need to wait 24 hours for the full bond to occur for the best bond you can get out of it. It's not a super glamorous product, it's a workhorse. I have never had a studio without it because every once in a while I get a piece of furniture and nothing wants to stick to it, and I test all of that constantly. This is what makes it stick, and it's not solvent, so I don't have to worry about fumes. I don't have to worry about compatibility with all my other Faux Effects products. It's designed to work hard and make your product stick better. So I have now showed you the glories of PrimeEtch. Yes, it can be thinned. I think, if I remember correctly, I've been told that it can be thinned up to 10 times with water, but I kind of say why. If you need something that bonds this hard, why would I thin it that much? I don't use it much more than thinned 1-to-1 if I need it that much thinned. I usually just use it straight out of the container. It's really, really thin. You get a lot of square foot per gallon. I want to say it's so thin you get at least 300 square feet, if not more, per gallon. So there is that. Any other questions about PrimeEtch? I'm happy to. Martin says best not to thin. See, I always heard that it's a great thing to thin it if you needed to. I found it useless thinning. Why would I thin it? I want the strength of that bond, so I don't thin it unless there's a very specific reason to do it, and there rarely is that specific reason. Can you see the label? Yes, you can. Here, let me put it up. And I know it's going to be in reverse. It's called PrimeEtch by Faux Effects. There is no other water-based high bonding primer like this. It's very unique, and it's one of the things I love about it. All right, I think we've covered everything with PrimeEtch. If I've missed something, I'm sure Martin will tell me. But I think we're good on that, and I think that covers everything. I think we're going to move on to Varnish Plus, and I'm going to swing my table around and show you this, Varnish Plus. Varnish Plus is a top coat for furniture specifically and for cabinetries that is interior rated only. it's a pre-catalyzed style lacquer, but it's water-based, highly cleanable, extremely strong, interior rated only. Do not use this outside, it will break down. And it has alcohol resistance, which is, Martin says, I miss him, not something. See, he distracts me, and now I'm talking about Varnish Plus, and he's distracting me. And any of you who've ever been in a class with Martin and me, you'll know that this is exactly how classes go. So anyway, Varnish Plus, one of the great things about Varnish Plus too is that it is alcohol resistant. And why is that important? Well, when it's on cabinetry and furniture, somebody needs to clean down the cabinet. Somebody spills something against the cabinet and it doesn't penetrate and it doesn't ruin the top coat. If you spill a glass of wine on your tabletop, it doesn't soften the top coat because most water-based top coats are softened by alcohol. This, once it's fully cured at 30 days, is extremely alcohol resistant. It means that if you use it on a bathroom cabinet and you have cleaners around you, somebody comes in and needs to 409 the sink and they spritz the cabinet with the 409, it won't dissolve the top coat. That's really, really important. Nancy says, because tequila. Oh, maybe I need that. Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to start drinking when I do these and Martin's on. Maybe I just need to start drinking more, period. But that's not happening today. I'm sorry, you're all getting me sober. Anyway, so this can be thinned. The standard thin on this is 20% water to either brush or spray. I often thin my first coat 50%, so I have a nice thin layer kind of penetrating in, and then do the 20%. Your top coat recoat times are within 4 hours or after 24 hours. That period of after 4 hours to 24 hours, if you start top coating then, you will affect the way the bond works and you will affect the drying. So please know, within 4 hours when it's dry to touch, or after 24 hours for the second coat. And it has a nice thick body to it. And we're gonna do some stuff with it that's generally not done with Varnish Plus because I figured it out by messing with stuff. So Varnish Plus has, and just so you know, it comes in dull, satin, and gloss. Now if you want a finish somewhere in between any of these, you can mix these all together and create this level of sheen that you want. There's no problem mixing and matching, but you can see this, let's see if I can get it clear. Is it resistant to acetone? No, nothing's really resistant to acetone, but it's better than most. Water-based top coats can be all damaged by acetone, but it's slower to damage than with others. I know, because, you know, girly fingernails, I get acetone on things all the time. Let's see. Let's move on to this. I'm going to get us focused over the table. Once this angles over the table, I won't be able to see your questions easily. So if I miss something, I will answer it in the comments when I put the camera back to where I can see it. Also, I'm looking up at it like this, so I'm sorry for the funny faces, but you know, my face is kind of funny anyway. So we'll just survive that as well. All right. Gloves on for this because it's going to be messy, but fun and pretty. So I discovered, sometimes, you know, people talk about tinting top coats, and I don't tint top coats the same way other people do because I'm not usually looking to add an additional layer of color to something with a top coat. I'm usually looking for the top coat to be in and of itself. If I want other color, I'm going to take glaze where I can manipulate it and soften it as opposed to brushing a top coat or spraying a top coat and having it come out uneven. But in some of my artwork, I have taken Varnish Plus because it has really super fine self-leveling qualities and it's a little thicker so it spreads a little slower, and added metallic pigments to it. All right, let me grab them because here's my box of pigments. These are kind of cool. These are not a Faux Effects product, although I could be doing this with faux cream colors or faux colors, that wouldn't be a problem. But what I started doing this for was to get these super cool metallics out of it. So I take this, and I think you probably saw me tinting some other stuff doing this, but I have Varnish Plus straight out of the container in a little paper cup, and I'm going to pick some colors, and these are called Primary Elements. They are an art product from Luminart, and they come in all kinds of colors. And the funny thing is that the colors in the jar aren't necessarily the colors you see in the end. So I keep a chart in my studio over, let's see if I can get you to see it without snapping something. That chart right there, get there, that chart there. I keep all of my colors listed on it so I can pick it out. Now for today I'm just sort of playing. I'm actually doing a tabletop this way, but I'm experimenting with some colors today. So I'm going to bring it over and play with centering this for a second, and you know, working on not flipping the camera around. I know I'm in a shadow here, it's actually the camera that's leaving the shadow, but we'll have to make do. So I'm going to take, I don't know what color is this, passion fruit, oh, ginger flower, which actually looks it's a super dark purple, but it actually comes out sort of this really pretty purpley pink. And I'm going to take, let's see if you can see me, I'm going to have to move things so you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. I take a little bit of this pigment, put it in the container. It doesn't look like a lot, but it really colors up very rich. Let's take a look. And it's hard to see, but the color is really metallic. And that's one of the things I like about this product, allows that. I'm going to just tap off the edges into this container so that when I close it up and put it back in, I don't have loose pigment everywhere. And all it'll do is just make this a little deeper. And I'm going to do this with a couple of colors. I usually do 3 colors or 4 colors anytime I pour. This is not going to look, for those who are used to the other kind of acrylic pours where you get the fish eyes and stuff, that's not what I'm doing. All I'm doing is getting some really interesting colors to pour and allow to melt into each other. So I'm going to pour out 6 little cups. It's very exciting watching me pour, and I'm sorry I'm not talking, but I want to make sure I just don't like totally overfill these cups and end up having to throw away a ton of product. Because when I do small jobs, I try to, you know, pour out what I need, and I still end up with extra anyway. This color is called Key Lime, and I know this color is pale, so it needs a little extra. Yeah, let's see, I've got Douglas Fir, which, as you can see, this color looks really greenish, really bluish in here, but it actually comes out another shade of green. I'm just sort of reaching in and grabbing a bunch of stuff, so let's hope they look good together. Okay, get what's on my finger in. And this color is called Orange Peel. So I'll use that for another project. So I'm kind of running on the last bit of this color. I guess I'm going to have to order more of that soon. All right, I've got a pink, 2 greens. I think I need a blue in there. Let's see, what have I got? Evening Primrose. So there's that color. There's
Gonna go in there. I do this a lot, so I don't really measure out anything. But if somebody was to ask me and hold a gun to my head, I would say that I'm putting maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon into stuff here. Okay, I've got that. Let's see what else I've got. That's not what I wanted. Okay, this color is called Autumn Leaf, which is sort of this weird browny green. It's either going to look great or it's going to look terrible. 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon in these, and that's because I want them pigment dense. These are water soluble. Do not try to put these in like regular polyurethane or oil-based paints. They won't do anything. They'll float in. They do actually, though, surprisingly enough, caught me by surprise. They went into an MSA varnish, which is 100% acrylic, but it's in a solvent base. Surprised me that it actually dissolved. But I love doing this mostly in Varnish Plus because Varnish Plus levels so nicely and it's dries crystal clear, and then I have this beautiful meld of everything going together, and I really, really like how it comes out. Okay, you see those colors are just super, super rich. So I really like that. And this is nothing complicated to do. I'm sure, whoops, sorry, kicking the camera. I'm sure all of you have poured stuff on. It's similar to pouring epoxy, only it doesn't dry like epoxy. It takes longer to dry. Now, the one thing I did is I went and I leveled my pieces because this takes a while to dry. And I leveled in all directions. And I'm actually a little off there, but I knew that was going to happen. And I'll watch these and I'll kind of make sure they stay solid. And I'll have to, they're not going to, wherever I pour them, it's going to look really pretty, and then they're going to start to spread. And I have no control over that spread other than to keep them from pouring all off of one corner. So I'm taking some of this and I'm pouring it around. And I'm going to take my stick a little bit. Now I'm doing these on canvases that I painted with black set coat. So they've got a little tooth on them. Most of the time when I do this with furniture, the surface is just smooth, smooth, smooth. I even do this on the backs of glass for my Veriglamise pieces. So this will level out and you will stop seeing some of these streak marks. And then I'm going to pour some. Let me mix the orange. I didn't get it all mixed in. Sloppy, sloppy, Maury. There's some of this, and then I'll mix some of it in here. I've been asked if this can be done on canvas, and the answer is yes, but canvas is soft and it will sag in the middle. So all of your Varnish Plus will run to the center. Now, I'm just smoothing this out a little bit. I'm really not trying to control it. Let's see, what other color should I stick in here? Maybe I'll stick in some of this light green. And it's not really interesting right now. You've probably seen my posts on Facebook and on Instagram where you see it all melded and blurred together. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to shift it a little bit and let it run around. And it doesn't move too fast unless I've thinned it, which this I haven't, because I don't want it to all just run off the edges of the boards. but it wants to level itself. So I'm going to leave that sitting there for a minute and see where that goes. And I'm going to move over to this one and we'll do some brighter colors. And then I'll play with it a little more and we'll see what happens. So I've got all of this blue. And I'll let that sit there. And then I'm going to put the pink right next to it. I'll put some here like this. And then what was the other color I had? Oh, I had this dark green. And I'll take some of the dark green. I know this is not always the most interesting thing to watch. And sometimes I need more, sometimes I need less. But you can see as I let this shift, the colors naturally blend into each other. And I can take my mixing sticks and again smooth out a little bit. I'm not going to brush this because if I brush it, I just blend everything, and that's really what I don't want to do. So I'll take the sticks and fill in some spots and the thing is, it doesn't stay like this. It doesn't stay in these big blobs. Eventually, what happens because of gravity is stuff feeds around and they kind of blur into each other and create rivers. Now, I can do it mechanically like you just saw. And, you know, when I do this on the back of my pieces, I think them out a little more carefully than I just did now. But I'm doing this on black because it's really easy for you all to see what I'm doing. But I'm also going to take this and force some of these colors to run in other directions. You know, I could have started in the middle and created some other stuff happening there too. I know some of you may have questions. I am not answering them because I'm watching down here trying to keep this from pouring on my shoes. So I can see exactly what I'm doing. And what will happen with all of this is that you will get this beautiful hard metallic finish. And this in itself is a strong enough finish to use for furniture. I have a tabletop that I'm doing this way. I think I'm going to do it with golds and orange, maybe a little red, because the top is black. But if I get this up close, you can see how those metallics are starting to blend into each other, and they're super rich looking. Now I have to watch this because they're not quite level, and they will shift around funny. I'm going back here to this one now. And I'm going to take my little stick, and you can see some of them have started to blend. I don't know if you can see that well. Let me move this. I got it stuck on my shoe. All right. They're starting to blend on their own a little bit. That helps the camera's not quite causing that heavy shadow. I've got where it's thicker, it will level more. So if you pour it on thin, you're going to have thin streaks that dry. If you put it on thicker spots, it'll start to want to blend on its own. When I do this on glass, because glass is so slick, I don't even have to manipulate it. It'll just ease across the glass on its own. And, a little muddier than I like because of that brown color I have in here. I'll see what's left in some of the cups and pour it in. Let's see. Let's see what I got here. So the reason I find things like this out is because oftentimes I'm creating something that I need a different solution than the obvious. I need something that has the depth and the hardness, like for this, the depth, the hardness, and the clarity of a top coat that will allow me to put pigments in it and will dry super hard, but has some leveling qualities, so it'll all feed into each other. And again, like I said, I'm on a surface that has texture. I just sprayed some black set coat on here. But you can see, like right in the middle where I put the orange itself is leveling into the green, and it will eventually bleed into it a little bit. I'm just going to take whatever's left of some of these other cups and put them in spots and see what happens. You can use these as art backgrounds. You can selectively choose your colors and make them tabletops like I'm going to be doing very soon. You can use them as pieces of art in and of themselves. And once this dries, you can do more layers of color over it. There's no reason you shouldn't. There's no reason unless you hate it. But there's nothing stopping you. There's nothing that says that once this is dry, you can't put another layer on it. Now the caveat on this is, of course, that it does not dry quickly. Usually when I do this, I'm watching it for the first hour and constantly rotating it so that all the colors don't slide off on one side. And it's not, because it's so thick, it's really not even dry to the touch for several days. This is not a fast project, and you need a level surface to do it on. Level works best for this. And don't tell somebody you're going to have it ready the day after tomorrow, because you're not. I'm having fun putting some colors in here. Now, when this dries, there's a whitish haze to this right now because of the fact that water-based polyacrylics all have a whitish look, but it will not dry. It will dry much more transparent. I want to get a little smear in this corner because it looks just a little bare. And then I'm going to shift, and I'll watch this for a while, and I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch, but if you look at this one right here, you can see that the direction of this, there's a slight slant to the table, so the direction is causing everything to move that way. So now I'm going to turn this around and allow things to tip this way a little bit. And I don't think you can, but you can see how beautiful that metallic shine is on there. And I have tried this with other top coats, and something about Varnish Plus and the fact that it levels and it has that beautiful clarity does it like no other top coat. So not only is it an amazing furniture top coat, it is a fantastic art product. All right, I think I've kind of covered everything. Martin says, what you smoking? Nothing, but you know, maybe I'll start smoking my shoes later. Well, so listen, everybody, thank you. And Natalie, thank you. Again, it looks a little different than what you were seeing maybe in some of my photographs. I'm going over this way because I'm going to show you the backs of the glass that I had poured it on. I originally posted pictures on Facebook. So hang on a sec because I don't want to trip over a cord. So those glass pieces you saw me experimenting with, this is the back. This is what happens when you let this stuff sort of level out on its own on the back of glass. And that in itself is gorgeous. And through the light, I don't know if I can get this so you can see it through the light.
it has a really rich color shine. And then that one that was really vibrant and stuff and looks kind of messy, muddy now, it's beautiful through the light. And then up close, you can see all these really, I haven't cleaned it up or anything, but you can see all the colors, like little dots of dark green in here, and then the oranges and the copper. This is one of my favorite things to do. It's not always, it doesn't always look right to start with, which is not surprising with a lot of art projects. They always look a little, I'm like, is that really gonna work? And then it dries, and it does, and it looks amazing. I want to thank everybody for being with me today. It's my first live in a couple of weeks. Things have been, life just gets busy. We all have things we have to do. And I'm going to be, I'll probably get one more in next week, and then I'm going to be out of commission for a couple weeks. I'm going to be out of town, traveling, seeing family, having a little vacation. And I always like that. I got to see my friends and my family, and I'm very proud of my nephew who is graduating high school on the 22nd and heading to college in the fall. My own son is working hard this summer while he takes he has a full-time job and is doing 9 credit hours for his senior year in college. So I'm very proud of everybody, and it's been a great summer so far. I hope you all are having a great one. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for watching me spray and make messes, and yeah, dip my elbows and stuff as always. Not put my gloves on as always, and have some fun with me. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.